Right. All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Jason Gorman with The Rest of the Field. We are in episode 2, show number 2. I think we knocked it out of the park last week with our first episode. Certainly our first attempt at it. We thought it went well. We had a lot of fun, so we're going to give it another go. Reminder, you can find us on Twitter at rest_field, REST_field. We are on Instagram. You can find us at The Rest of the Field on Instagram. And YouTube, if you simply search The Rest of the Field, you will find the YouTube channel that you are hopefully going to be watching this episode. You can check back in on episode 1, and then any further episodes that we bring out each week you can find on our YouTube channel. So let's get right into it. Let's look at what happened last week with our epic dessert draft. You'll see here, Justin unfortunately ran away with the dessert show or dessert draft results with 40% of the vote. Ben right on his heels with 30%. Jason and then Chris rounding it out with Chris only 10% of the vote. What's going on there?
Yeah, it looks like just one. We have unique tastes. That one person is very, very valuable to me.
Was that you?
No, I just voted for it, so actually I'm up to 18%, but that's okay. Next week.
Yeah, these results do run through the end of today, so there is still time to vote if you want to get out there. Check out the results of our dessert draft last week. Get on to Twitter and vote. We're going to have another draft today. We're really excited about that one. We will again post a poll to find out who won the draft today. That'll be up shortly after the show is posted. So congratulations, Justin. I honestly don't remember what you all chose on your squad, except for the Amish chocolate whoopie.
Yeah.
That one's the only one.
Amish whoopie, yep. That was a one. I think I took the title here with Blue Moon. I mean, I know you guys didn't like the pick, but it tastes like Fruit Loops. It's basically eating a bowl of Fruit Loops without the liquid milk. So I think that's what took the cake.
That's okay.
I asked. I mean, what does? Have you all had Blue Moon?
Yes, when I was like 7.
Of course.
So what do you think it tastes like? I mean, it's kind of it's kind of a mystery. I mean, what exactly is Blue Moon?
It tastes like a top 50 dessert. That's what it tastes like.
I think in the same sense that I used to eat Nerd Blizzards from Dairy Queen when I was growing up, and then I grew out of that as I became an adult. The same way I grew out of Blue Moon ice cream.
Well, what I think it tastes like is a champion. So take that, boys.
Fair enough.
Poll champion.
Fair enough. You are the winner this week. Everybody, please tune in next week. Vote for Justin if you think he's the winner, but check out the results of this week's draft. Head on to social media and let us know what you think. We're going to dive into another uniform reveal. There's been a couple this week. We had the New England Patriots, who didn't do a whole heck of a lot with their new uniforms, and also the San Diego Chargers that you're seeing here. A lot to look at. A few different changes. We got different colors. We got 4 different colors of pants. We have 4 different uniform tops. Even in the helmets, you see 3 different changes in terms of the outline of the lightning bolt and the color of the number on the helmets. Just a quick once around the room, yay or nay on the Chargers uniforms. Deke, let's start with you.
I do like these. The only thing I don't like is the number on the helmet, but that's very minor. I think these are really cool looking. I also read that they're going to have a different uniform combination for all 16 games. Or is it 17 now, I guess? But that's pretty interesting. I'm trying to figure out how to work that, but I did read that. The 2 on the far right are my favorite, though. With the all navy blue and the all royal blue. Those are my
total change up.
Yeah,
okay.
like the
Chris,
color rush type thing.
These are awesome. I love these. I've heard some people don't like the full navy, but I actually really like the navy. I think it's a clean look all around. Is there a reason they can't put in like a navy helmet or a royal helmet? Like why the same
Yeah,
helmet basically throughout? I don't get
think
that.
what I had heard was the NFL has rules on helmets where each player has to have their helmet, and they're not able to switch helmets around. Unlike college, where each player can have multiple helmets in an equipment room, and that allows the equipment managers and whatnot to either get helmets repainted or different logos and all that stuff. So the changes you see are very easy. You can take a face mask off, put a navy one on. You can re-sticker the helmet very quickly, but they only have the one helmet to work with, which is why, like Tampa Bay, they would have to make a full switch back to the creamsicle uniform in order to bring out the creamsicle type helmet,
Oh
because the
man.
colors would just clash. So
That makes sense.
yeah, that's what I could be wrong, but I remember hearing that a couple of years back because I had the same question, because college teams do it all the time. Oregon does it all the time, and how do NFL teams not have the same ability? Ben, what do you think about these uniforms?
My favorites are the bookends. I like the original powder blues with the white pants, and then I enjoy the navy ones as well. I'm okay with the other ones. The only ones I'm not really sold on are the ones with the gold pants, but that's just personal. I mean, I guess you could see what they look like when it gets out on the field, but I don't know. The pants just seem a little too much gold for me.
Yeah, for sure. I thought the same thing. There wasn't a picture with some of their athletes with the uniforms on, but they didn't give a really good view of the side, so I didn't include that picture. It was a little hard to see all the different details of the uniform, but it'll be interesting to see these on field. I do like, it seems like everybody really likes the Navy. I do too. There's something about it that irks me a little bit, and I don't know if it's the all Navy socks or what. I do actually kind of like the white with powder blue socks on the first four. I don't know if that's what it is about. There's something about the Navy one. I do like the different color outline and the different color number on the helmet. I think that's a nice, very minor touch that really brings the whole uniform together. But all in all, it sounds like these uniforms have been a big hit, not only on social media, but for the four of us. But we'll keep moving on here. We don't want to dive too deep into it. But it does bring us to the NFL draft, which is tomorrow. Now, I don't know about you guys if you're hearing the same amount of buzz about this draft as years past, if that's because it's all going to be online, or we're not having the big spectacle that we were supposed to have in Las Vegas. There was talked about that the guys, as they got picked, were going to come out of the green room and go onto a boat and ride a boat to the stage. And it seemed like it was going to be quite the spectacle in Las Vegas, but obviously with what we have going on in terms of the virus and shutdowns and everything like that, we're doing an all virtual or digital draft. NFL GMs are going to be reporting or putting in their picks from their homes. I've been doing a little bit of reading on this, and it sounds like a couple dry runs that they did just to test out everybody's internet and all that sort of things didn't go quite as planned. I'm just going to read you a quote here from a report that I was reading, and it said one NFL source told us that it was, quote unquote, a shit show with a bunch of 60-year-old men not muting their phones, yelling at their computers. ESPN's Diana Rossini reported she had to hang up on a head coach because during their call, the coach could be heard instructing his young children to get off their iPads and taking up his household internet bandwidth in a loud dad voice. So I think what they were getting at here is that, we may not see as many trades within the draft. They'll certainly be able to trade, before a draft day starts, after a draft day ends, and before the next round start the next day. But all those kind of last minute trades may not happen just because people are unable to get a hold of each other, which I see, but I also don't necessarily agree with, because just because your internet doesn't work doesn't mean you can't pick up your phone and call somebody, and because that's what they were doing anyway before this whole digital virtual draft. What do you guys think? Are we going to see hiccups? Are we going to see some glitched out screens, some GMs that are frozen on screen trying to make picks? or do you think it's just going to run smoothly?
This is an easy answer for me, actually. I think everybody works for a company where they have at least one person that doesn't know how to mute the phone or put it into full go. So
Right.
of course there's going to be little hiccups. Like this is for me, it's like a video game world dream. Like we all get to see it firsthand. They should be able to experience it with a few hiccups, and I think it'll go just fine. I think there'll be a lot of trades. I think it'll be pretty crazy, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward to it.
Anybody else?
Well, I just want to say that in your comment there from the source, since I am pushing almost 60 years old, especially according to you guys, I think that I'm a little offended by that comment where she says a bunch of 60-year-old men not muting their that's just me.
But it's spot on.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, I've had some troubles muting myself, but I think they'll get it figured out, to be honest with you. I think Chris hit it spot on. There's probably going to be some issues here and there, but I think they will figure it out and get this thing taken care of. I'm not sure why there isn't much hype. I mean, for me personally, it's just because every time I turn on my phone or the TV, it's COVID-19, and, in most cases, rightfully so, but I think that's probably why there isn't as much hype around it. But
Definitely.
And maybe it'll be a good release for a lot of people, something different that's, on TV, something different to watch. It's the same setup as it has been in years past. Tomorrow will be just round 1, and then Friday will be rounds 2 and 3, and then Saturday will be rounds 4 through 7. So just a quick little dive into the draft, just covering kind of the main points that everybody's been talking about. Somebody that I read a lot and listen to a lot is Evan Silva. He runs a podcast website called Establish the Run. Somebody that I've really trusted for fantasy football, but also has a lot of statistical and analytical breakdown. Say it's on certain cornerbacks against certain wide receivers. So yes, it's for fantasy, but the breakdown is certainly real life numbers and based on real life performance. So he does a good job of doing his mock drafts. He's usually pretty spot on, other than the trades that, sometimes you can never see happening. But what do you guys think? Is Joe Burrow, is he obviously number 1? You guys think the Bengals are going to do something different and shock everybody?
I think I'm not sold 100% that Joe Burrow's number 1. I think Tua could go in a surprise only because it's the Bengals, and traditionally you haven't been sure what they're going to do, and they've not been the greatest run organization in the world.
So do you see a ripple effect then, and having Andy Dalton being dealt to somebody else on this draft weekend? So maybe the Patriots grabbing a quarterback or something like that?
I think the Red Rocket is going to be a New England Patriot.
Have the Bengals said he isn't coming back?
He's still under contract.
Okay, because I still think Chase Young is the guy who should go number 1. That's, I guess drafting a quarterback, to me, in the top 5, it's gone wrong more than it's gone right in the past. So if I'm the Bengals, I would take Chase Young. He seems like a easy, perennial Pro Bowler who's going to be a good player for the franchise for a very long time, whereas Joe Burrow could be, gone in 2-3 years. He could never beat out the Red Rocket,
and I think,
the Red Rifle.
Yeah, I think Andy Dalton is good enough. That is Joe Burrow that much of an improvement? Is he that much of an improvement right away? Could he develop into something? Sure. I mean, I don't think any of us and anybody even within these organizations know what these guys are going to develop into. Like you're saying, I would take the guy who's ready now, and that is that Chase Young. Maybe he doesn't make as big of a difference on your team in terms of your overall record, but I don't know that Joe Burrow is that much better than Andy Dalton to make that much of a difference either.
Yeah, Andy Dalton was in talks for MVP a few years ago when he got injured. I mean, the guy was playing well, and he's been out without his top wide receiver for the last year at least, So, I mean, you got to cut him a little bit of slack there, I think. But
Ben, Andy Dalton was in talks for MVP?
Wasn't it like 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, they
No,
always start
wasn't it
out
3,
good.
4
They
years
always
ago?
start out with a great record, and then they, the Bengals,
Oh.
being the Bengals, seem to fall off. But because Deke did talk about he thinks Tua maybe sneaks in as a surprising #1 pick, where do you guys see him falling? One, is he going to be a round 1 pick? Was what happened to him a freak injury, or with some of these other nicks and bruises that he's picked up along the way, is he injury prone? I mean, what do you guys think? He's not the biggest guy, so is he more along the lines of an RG3, where all the talent in the world, but is he ever going to stay on the field, or is this guy a surefire bet to hit it big and should go #1?
I like Tua going #5. I don't know if he'll go to the Dolphins. I know they have 3 first-round picks. That's kind of where he's been projected. Maybe them or the Chargers at 6. But the way contracts are right now for quarterbacks, it's a hit and miss. You get 4 or 5 years on it with a first round because of the extra year. I think that most teams will take that risk just to put it into a great financial salary situation like moving forward. So I don't think Tua is anything like RG3 or maybe other quarterbacks. Yeah, he's got injury prone, but I would take the risk on him for sure. Seems very talented and level headed.
Can you guys remind me who the Dolphins quarterback is right now? I apologize, but who currently is the Dolphins QB?
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
Oh, it is Fitzmagic. You're right.
It's magic.
So the Dolphins could be a decent spot, Chris. I agree.
Yeah, at least with
Let's
Fitzpatrick
move.
there, he doesn't have to start right away. He can sit for a year or two.
Yeah, yep, and fully heal and learn and things like that. So he may not be an impact player come game 1 of this next season, but certainly somebody to keep an eye on. I honestly think the surprise will be Tua falling out of the first round. I think there's what I've been reading lately is not the sexy picks, but the big men up front in the trenches. We're going to see a lot of offensive tackles taken tomorrow night. So we'll see how that all plays out. We have a couple players.
What are you willing to put on that? You have that is a bold
Tua
prediction
falling out
right
of the
there.
first round? I mean,
I would give you a lot of odds. I think it's a fantastic prediction just for something.
I think you guys
different,
should do some sort of
I think
facial
you've
hair
lost
bet.
your mind.
Well, we can't do a facial hair bet because Jason can't grow any. So
Well, that's why it's fun.
Mine's patchy too. It sucks.
the viewers wouldn't see anything until like season 2 of this show, not episode 2, season 2.
Could be a haircut bet.
I'm up for
It'll
that.
be a round of
My hair
it'll be a round of drinks for sure. We can figure it out, but I
Okay.
think if he drops out of the
Put it at
first
a
round,
round of
that'd be a
drinks
very
and
big
we
shocker.
You guys only have until tomorrow to figure out these odds, but we can figure that out. I do want to touch on a couple people that we all are sort of excited to see. They're not necessarily people we followed throughout college, but we maybe have heard about, seen highlights, and now we're just wondering where they're going to end up. For me, it's Isaiah Simmons. He is probably the most, other than Chase Young, the most talked about defensive player because he's a linebacker, he's a safety, he's this hybrid player. He's like I don't want to say supersized because he's not huge, but he's I think about 6'4", so he's like a bigger version of Tyrann Mathieu, kind of a large honey badger, and came out of Clemson. Evan Silva has him projected currently as going to the Panthers, a replacement for Luke Kuechly. So not somebody that our Packers are probably going to get unless they made some type of drastic move up in the draft, but somebody I'm certainly excited to see. Chris, you had Jordan Love, quarterback out of Utah State. What are you excited to see there?
Sorry, don't know how to work that mute button. I'm turning into D. I put Jordan
close
Love
to
just
60.
because I went with Jordan Love just because at the end of the first round, it's always interesting to see which good teams are willing to take that last ditch on the quarterback for the extra year of a contract. It intrigues me. People compare this to Aaron Rodgers. It's completely different, honestly. Like those guys, him and Alex Smith were both projected in the top 5, potentially who was going to go #1. Jordan Love's not even in that conversation. I just think the way things are now, he's definitely going to just get picked in the late first round by a good team that'll kind of maneuver for a year or two till he starts.
late in the first round, would you be opposed to the Packers taking him as an Aaron Rodgers heir in waiting?
No, I would be opposed to that, yes, because it's not the same situation. He wasn't a top 2 pick. Like, Aaron fell to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a gift in a box. Like, we got super lucky. He could have been the first overall pick. I mean, that's different than Jordan Love, who could be a first rounder, and just we take him because we take him. So I think add talent around the Packers. No, I would definitely pass on a QB.
Yeah, currently Evan Silva has him going number 24 to the Saints, so heir apparent to Drew Brees. So
Yeah.
that's
Saints, Patriots. I've heard a lot of rumblings.
yeah. So Justin, you went with 2 Badgers. You went with Jonathan Taylor, running back, and Quintez Cephas, wide receiver. What are you thinking there?
Well, I want the Badgers. I mean, it's a total homer pick, right? I mean, I want to see what the Badgers are going to do. I love the Badgers. Jonathan Taylor, he's your classic Badger running back. You get behind a big offensive line and you run for all these yards. You win all these running back awards. And then you go to the NFL and you just want to see what he can do. I think for me, that's why where he's going to get drafted, running backs are tending to fall. But again, as a Homer Badger fan, I just want to see what the next great Badger running back can produce in the NFL. And also, I read recently that he received the largest contract with Topper's Pizza for like a endorsement deal with Topper's Pizza for a running back. I just thought it was interesting and kind of neat. But
I'm all ready to eat Toppers. I'm already willing.
I think they gave him ownership rights to like 3 or 4 different actual storefronts in the Madison area. So keeping the ties to the Wisconsin Badgers. But I think a cool move, something that's different. You don't necessarily hear a lot about it, but I guess it was one of the bigger endorsement type deals for these soon to be rookies. Any takes on Cephas? I know he had a tumultuous run with the Badgers and certain things that happened, and he was able to get back on the field this last year. So just hoping he can land somewhere.
Cephas for me is a guy, again, coming from a Badger fan, where traditionally the Badgers are a run team and then they have one good receiver, and that was him. And there really has never been any receivers really pan out in the NFL. And I just think, to me, he's probably got the most skills to do so. Body type, according to what guys are saying, he likes to run block. He runs well after the catch. And in today's NFL, a lot of your short run, first down, second down plays are quick screens up to the receivers. And he's big, good body. So, again, I just am interested to see if a Badger receiver can actually produce in the NFL and make a name for himself. So
I just want you to know, Deke, that he's listed at number 29 out of 43. So do you think he'll go in the top five rounds of the NFL draft?
I'll say if I'd say yes or no. And the only reason is because he's a Badger receiver. And I just think I think a lot of people look at Badger receivers, not very good, but I think he has the potential to. I think here's the other thing. I think he will make an NFL team.
Okay, I like that.
Oh, for sure. I think so too.
So,
Evan Silva didn't have either of them projected in the first round, which I don't think is a shock. But I think they'll both contribute as early as next year if Cephas can, make a name for himself in camp. Ben, you had an interesting name on here. You went with Jalen Hurts, the former quarterback at Alabama and then with Oklahoma. Also not projected as a first-round pick, but what are you hoping to see there?
I guess what I was excited for, with him, I see a lot of the same things I thought I saw with Dak Prescott, where wasn't a lot of hype for him before the draft, didn't get a lot of hype in the college ranks, but once he got into the NFL, I felt like, obviously Dak has been doing very well. And I think Hurts could be along that same sort of path where he's underrated. He goes to a team that maybe doesn't need him to come and step in right away, and he can develop for a little while. And I think he's more NFL ready than a lot of these other guys who are going to be going in front of him. So
Yeah, kind of one of those steady athletes, played in a couple different systems, so he can obviously pick up new stuff and perform on the field. So I like that one. And then we just wanted to touch, we're obviously all Packer fans. We're all from Wisconsin.
did he freeze? It's a nice
frozen.
face there.
Yeah, we have lost him.
We lost Jason, the
Uh-oh.
producer.
Someone want to text him?
Good. Otherwise, we can just roll with it.
Unless he's playing a game. Like maybe he's just trying to like stay frozen quick.
Yeah. He looked down at his pick for the Packers and he's like, this is really bad. I don't want to do it.
Well, since we're still going, I'll talk about my first. I mean, do you guys have any? Do you want the Packers to make a move here move up a little earlier in the first round, move back, get an additional first rounder? What are you guys thinking?
For me,
I would love to
personally,
see him. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if the Packers got a quarterback to be the heir apparent to Rodgers. I really wouldn't mind that. I think, but for me, who I picked was the tight end. So if they could move up at all to get a tight end, I think that's what they need. I know I just saw a stat today that Rodgers lost 600 and some yards on dropped balls from his receivers, which was the most in the NFL. Again, I don't know how many of those were Jimmy Graham or his tight ends that he had the past couple of years, but I think he could get some more tight end help. And my one with Bryce Hopkins from Purdue. He's not projected as a first rounder, but he's a good route runner. He blocks well, and I think we're going to continue to utilize our running game more with, the new system we're in with LaFleur. And so I think we'll need that. And his NFL comp is Jared Cook. And when Rodgers was with Jared Cook, I thought that was a huge mistake to let Cook go. And that's what they're saying his NFL comp is. And I think that those guys could make some hay. So I picked Bryce Hopkins from Purdue. Spoiler up.
I like that pick. I think that when I look at where he kind of ranks, I think that'd be a bad value if we took him in the first round potentially. But I love that comp for him. So Purdue always has some good tight ends that come out. I wouldn't be minding if you took Ben's quarterback. I wouldn't mind Jalen Hurts going to the Packers in the third round or something like that either. I think that'd be a great value pick as a backup. But Ben, you have Justin Jeffries, wide receiver. You want us to go with a young gun?
Yeah. So Justin Jefferson would be the wide receiver out of LSU. Burrow's main target from this last year. I just think he's got nice size. He's a real big guy. I don't know if he would fall, but I keep hearing people talk about how wide receiver heavy this year's draft is. So it's one of those things where I would like to see a guy like that fall. Last I saw, he was projected, late teens, early 20s. If we could make a trade, I think CD Lamb is going to be one of those guys who's just electric. I mean, I watched him a couple of games. I know Oklahoma had that really high scoring offense this year. But I think he is one of those kind of next level Tyreek Hill, freak elusive athlete sort of guys who's just going to make a huge difference for a team and almost do it immediately. But I do agree with the Jalen Hurts thing. Like you said, too, I would be okay with seeing them take a quarterback. I don't think I would want to see him do it until third or fourth round or later.
Yeah, I think Justin Jeffries it'd be a great value pick if we could get him at our 30th overall pick, but not sure if he'll be around. I went with a linebacker, same team, LSU. Also projected a little bit higher. He's projected in the 20s, top 20s. I don't think I would want Packers to make a move to do anything to draft anybody like this, but I think having an inside linebacker after we lose Martinez is something we got to fill. And with it being a deep wide receiver draft, I don't want us to reach for a receiver when maybe we can get one in the second or third round that's, potentially a little bit higher on the board. So, Jason, I think Jason's back with us.
Welcome back, Jason.
You're going to repeat a lot of information, but you went with another great inside linebacker, actually. You're on the same page with me, so Kenneth Murray.
Yeah, we signed Christian Kirksey from the Browns, and he could be a difference maker at the linebacker position. But add another young one and another guy that can cover some ground. Evan Silva currently has him projected at the Packers pick. I mean, we'll see. It all depends. We'll see how it all shakes out. Hopefully this all works out. I was the one who was recording, so I'm not really, I'm not sure if when I lost my internet, if this whole show even continued to record. So we'll check that out after. We'll just assume as though everything is fine for right now. And it's funny that as we're talking about the digital virtual NFL draft, that I go ahead and lose internet service. And actually, it was my fault. I put my phone, which was my hotspot for my internet, on the dash of my car, which I am in, and it overheated. So the phone itself sort of shut down. So I lost my internet connection. But we'll try to get right back into this here. We're moving on to our next topic, which I kind of have to sit out from because, frankly, I didn't even watch it. I don't have ESPN. I'm not a big ESPN watcher. It doesn't. There's not a lot of programs on there that I like to take in, so I wasn't able to watch this. I'm sure after May 17th, it'll come out somewhere where I'm able to watch it all. But episodes 1 and 2 came out of The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary on ESPN. Deke, I know you watched this and you felt very strongly about it in a couple ways. So what'd you think?
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to preface it with, this team is, I grew up watching this team when I was 12 to 18 years old. So it resonates with me pretty strongly. Even when I saw it come on, it's like you get all these nostalgic feelings back. But it was, I'm reading things on Twitter, I'm reading things on social media, how people are saying this is the greatest documentary of all time. There's anything like this. I've never seen any athlete act like Jordan does. I think that was a little overhyped. To me, what I saw is if you are a basketball fan, I guess that, maybe from that age or even a little bit younger and older, that you knew all this stuff in episode 1 and 2. They showed one clip of Michael Jordan cursing out Ron Harper, and all these people were talking about, oh, that's what we want to see. Oh my God, like I can't believe he did that type of thing. And I don't know. I think people are probably naive to think that happens a lot in high school locker rooms and practices, let alone the professional teams. I actually had a quote. I saw the paper from B.J. Armstrong, who was a main cog in the first three-peat that the Bulls had. He was their point guard in the would have been the 92 to 95 three-peat. And he said, if that's the worst that you've seen, then you've never seen the Bulls before. What Jordan said to Ron Harper. And to me, that just showed, like, yeah, the documentary was good. It brought back a lot of good memories. But to me, what I think people were wanting. To me, I wanted to see Jordan, and I wanted to see those guys going at it all the time. Like, I know they won 3 championships, and I know they won, and a lot of it was about Jerry Krause, the bad guy in the whole show. But I just didn't documentary of all time. I kind of knew everything that happened, and that they showed. But hopefully, I think it'll probably get better as the episodes go on. My main take from the first 2 episodes, though, was, as I said this when I was a kid, as a teenager, and I say it now, and anytime I get in debate with Jordan debate, is you can't say Jordan without Pippen. And I've always felt that Pippen is one of the greatest players of all time. And I don't know if you want to throw up the stats, the stat sheet. So if you look at this, if you were to convert this to how we look at sports today, And Pippen, through their 6 finals runs, has more rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. I think people would give him way more credit and probably Jordan less. Now, again, I'm probably opening up a can of worms because people just love Jordan. And I also think he's the greatest of all time. There's a lot of factors in that, but this stat tells me here that if there is no Pippen, there is no Jordan. And to me, what Pippen is in this day and age, if you look at those stats, he's Giannis. And
Right.
and so that's my take on it. Let's see what everybody else has comments on, but great show. I just think my biggest take, no Pippen, no Jordan.
Chris, Ben, did
Got
you guys
it.
watch?
Yeah, I like the show. I mean, I kind of agree with Justin, or everything I saw was kind of just a repeat from either, I think it was called I Believe I Can Fly, or some Fly Like Mike, or something like that back in the day. But a lot of great stuff I'm looking forward to. I don't think we got even a touch of what craziness we're going to see from some of this video with Jordan cussing out athletes or cussing teammates and stuff. I think it's going to be a little bit even dicier. Like, he had to approve quite a bit of this to go through into the documentary. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be different than make me uncomfortable, but that's kind of the cool part about it. Jason, I mean, it's 2020, man. If you need to borrow a password to get in the ESPN, you guys just let me know. It's pretty easy to watch. Just give me a text. All right.
Fair enough.
Easy stuff. All right.
I don't. I don't care for the programming on ESPN, and it kind of went the way of MTV, where it used to be about music, and now it's just about shows. And ESPN is sort of
I'll say this.
clickbait. So
I listen to a lot of Bill Simmons. I enjoy his podcast as well, and I mean, he's hit it spot on. Like, this has been like kind of a mystical, like, nobody really knew these videos existed until about 7, 8, 9 years ago, and ESPN couldn't afford it at the time, and Jordan didn't agree to actually doing the documentary. So I think them putting it all together and him saying how great this director is, I don't know who it is, apologize, but it kind of gets me excited just because I think it's going to be something way different and more on the lines of those 30 for 30 that usually are really good.
yeah, and I think one thing that people don't necessarily know is that they're not done with it yet. They, with everything that was happening with, shelter at home and lockdowns and things like that, it sort of fast forwarded a lot of, movie releases that were supposed to be in theaters that then came out digitally so people could watch them, so they weren't, enormous flops. Same thing here, where this wasn't supposed to come out yet. They brought out what was done, but they're still working on finishing, the final cuts of a few of these episodes towards the end. So it's not even a finished product yet. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully it's not in the realm of, say, Game of Thrones, where a lot of people are upset with the final season because they felt it was rushed and HBO needed for it to be done. So hopefully it doesn't come across that way when we get into those last episodes. I'm excited to watch it eventually. I was never really a Jordan fan. Not to say I don't appreciate him or think that he is, the greatest of all time or one of the greats and things like that. It's never that. I appreciate Michael Jordan completely. I just have never really been a fan that everybody can see all of his highlights. I've seen all of those, 10 times over. But I mean,
what
he's an
about like
intense
the other
professional
side of
athlete.
like maybe the raw access? Like, it's kind of stuff that we never get privileged to see, So like, you're going to see video or conversation that potentially you never, you just hear about.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
the
kind of
stuff I'm
maybe another
excited
way.
to see. Yeah, but I mean, I'm just as excited to see the next season of Hard Knocks on HBO in terms of football training camp and the behind the scenes that you see there. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about Michael Jordan, one of the greatest players. It could be about anybody in professional sports. I want to see the behind the scenes stuff that we don't see. And so whoever's able to bring that to me, I will absolutely watch it. So I'll get to watching this. I'm just not as geeked out about it right now as everybody else. So Justin, you did bring up the I guess the best duo in basketball history. I think we're going to roll with a poll question this week, or we're going to start it today, and we're going to see what kind of feedback we can get. And we're talking current professional basketball duos. Who's got the best one out there? And the 4 that we came up with, you can see right here. So you got LeBron and Anthony Davis. And with the Clippers, you have Kawhi Leonard and PG Paul George. Russell Westbrook, James Harden. And then with our very own Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis and Chris Middleton. What do you guys think? If you had to vote on this right now, what would you guys pick as your current best duo in the NBA?
Ben, what do you got?
For me, it's got to be Bron and the Brow. Those are just, to me, they're 2 of the top 5 guys. The fact that they're on the same team, just, I don't think any team, I mean, I think all of the duos here have a lot of obviously talent. That's why we're talking about them as the top, duos in the league. But I think those 2 easily take the cake.
Yeah, I think what you see with what LeBron's doing at his age, with Anthony Davis as a teammate in terms of leading the league in assists. They just play off of each other so well. My take is I think of these duos, and we certainly left a couple out. KD and Kyrie haven't played together, so we couldn't put them on here. And then Steph and Clay were in the running to be the 4th team in, but it was never really just them. So it's not just them that are leading the Warriors. They're always having Draymond there, and then obviously KD was there as well. So they don't really fit into the same mold, even though they're 2 of the better players in the league. Middleton doesn't seem to fit in, so it's hard. I want to pick Giannis because I really like him, but Middleton's easily the 8th best player on here, at least in my opinion. So I guess to be different than Ben, I'd probably go with Kawhi and PG. I like both of their games. Good defenders, steady players, nothing too flashy, just good basketball.
I'm going with LeBron and Anthony Davis, even though it pains me because I love the Bucks. But I will say Middleton is a little better than everybody thinks. That's all I got on that. I mean, he was having a great year. It's kind of disappointing that, things are getting cut short here. But
wasn't he on pace for a 40, 50, 90 season, which is something only like 3 or 4 people have done?
Yep. Yes, he was. He was currently on pace to do that, and he's overshadowed, obviously, even in the picture right there.
But rightfully so. You're talking about it.
But
an MVP candidate.
If I had to vote, I'm saying LeBron, AD.
Hey, Chris,
too good.
All right, so I like going a little off the wall here, and so of course I'm gonna argue for Giannis and Middleton. Okay, so this year alone, for sure, Bron, Brow, probably the best 2 in the league. But if you're looking at over the next 2 to 3 years, if the Bucks can keep Giannis, Middleton stays. He's only 27. He's great at stat lines. He's exactly the kind of guy Giannis needs. I think it's a perfect combination. So I'd rather have Middleton over Harden and Westbrook as well. So I think it'd be an unbelievable matchup. Hopefully we get to see it at the end of this year, Lakers Bucks. But Giannis is just a freak. He's different, man. So Bron's almost 40, not quite, but like 37.
All right. So I think nobody was going with Houston, which I think you have 2 of.
They should be off the list. They don't even deserve to be on this list.
2 of the more special scorers in the league. Certainly not a lot of defense there, but very fun to watch. I think I would even say I'd prefer to watch them over Steph and Clay, who are both off the list, who are also 2 good scorers, more on the shooting side. But Russ is electric.
God.
Harden
I'm embarrassed that we even have these 2 on here over Steph and Clay. Oh, it hurts.
Why?
I feel like Steph and Clay play well off of each other, where I don't feel like Russ and Harden do. I don't know. To me, they're both guys who like to have the ball in their hand too much, and there's not enough to go around, is my feel.
But just because they had Draymond.
I think Westbrook's numbers have gone up this year when playing with Harden from last year's stats when he didn't have Harden on the team?
I would have put Steph and Clay in there, but we could only put 4. But I mean, Draymond Green, I guess. They had KD, so you can't say it was just them. But I agree with Jason. They have always had kind of a third all-star.
Always had a third guy, if not, KD, one of the superstars in the league. So, had they done something with just those two, I would have absolutely put them in here. But they've never just played those two. They've always had somebody else there with them. So, all right. Well, you guys can go. You can find this. This poll will be on Twitter. You can do it there. I'm not a big Instagram guy, so I don't know if you can do polls on Instagram, but it'll for sure be on Twitter if we can find a way to get it on there, or at least a link to it in Instagram. You can see it there. So certainly go on there. Vote for who you think is the best current duo in NBA basketball. If you think it should be somebody else, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you think Steph and Clay should be in there, KD and Kyrie without ever playing together, maybe it's somebody else. Maybe you like, I don't even know who else you would pick. But if there is, let us know. We'll certainly talk about it next week. And I think what's most important is that we want to move on to something much bigger, much better, and that is our draft for this week. And this week we're going with Jock Jams. Everybody remembers the Jock Jams CDs from the past. The one thing I was surprised to, revisit was the fact that ESPN actually brought these albums out. And I had, forgotten that. I don't know that I paid much attention to it back when I was listening to these, but these were the warm-up CDs of every sport I ever played in growing up. Everybody heard it. It was really fun to take a stroll back through these playlists, and I was able to find 5 volumes of Jock Jams. I think they went to Rock Jock after that, so we condensed it only to the first 5 volumes of Jock Jams. And so we're going to do the same type of 4-person, 4-round draft. I did a random pick for draft position, and so today it's going to go me, then Justin, then Ben, then Chris, and then it's going to snake back with Chris having another pick on its way back to me. So we're going to jump right into it. I don't know that it needs a ton of more explaining. Let me hear from you guys while I get this set up so that I can try to do this live and make adjustments to it while we're doing the draft. But what are you guys, when we decided on this, what were your first thoughts?
I want to point out that if anybody takes a look at these, you go online or you look at the songs and the albums or from our picks, and you check out the videos of these, they are pretty wild. You'll get a good laugh at some of these videos, so go check it out if you want.
All right.
Me too. When I had to look over these lists, I was actually getting excited. Kind of like you said, I forget all the great songs and just basketball camps and just everywhere you listen to this stuff. So
Right.
I'm pretty excited about my list.
Yeah, I let you guys know last night that when I finally finished my big board for my draft, I ended up with 22 songs. Obviously, you can see on the board only 16 songs get picked. I will only have 4, but I have 22 choices. So I think I'm prepared no matter what anybody tries to do, and I think I have if I can somehow get my top 4 picks, I would be ecstatic. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's it's very top heavy, very, very top heavy. I think there's probably, I'm going to say 10 or 11 really solid picks. And then after that, it gets a little squirrely, but I think in a fun way. So if you guys are ready, everybody's set, I'm going to go ahead and get us started with pick number 1.
What we got?
All right. So as much as I really wanted to try to maybe steal a pick from Justin because I know kind of this music and what of this music he really likes, ultimately I couldn't pass up my favorite song. May not be the best one that I think is on the list, but my favorite song from these, and that is "Let Me Clear My Throat." DJ Cool, #1 pick. Put it on the board.
Wow, that's so bad.
I love that song.
I
would
do
take
love
it
that
4 or
song, but
5.
I did not have that top 5.
That's
Well,
a
and the
great
thing is,
song, but
I don't think it was going to come back to me. So
It
it was
wasn't.
either I had to pick it 1 or I'd have to pray that it made it back to number 8. So I couldn't miss out on it. I had to go with it here.
That would not have come back to you.
All right. Justin, what do you got at the number 2?
yeah. So
first
there's a couple songs on this list that some of you may know that are very dear to my heart. And I'm hoping that I will grab those in later rounds because I think to win, for me to go 2-0 in the picks here, I'm going with Rock and Roll Part 2, the Hey song. How can you go wrong? It's the whole reason why Jock Jams was ever even created. Da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
Wow. By
Not
Gary
expecting you to
Glitter.
go that route.
No, I
Wow.
wasn't at all.
Dead
So
shocked by that.
It's the whole reason why the Jock Jams is here.
I feel you. I understand
That's
where
okay.
you're coming from. But I
Was
don't
that even
think
from the first
that is-
CD?
Jock
it
Jams
was from
1.
Volume 1.
Okay.
And just to be clear here, my pick was from volume. Gosh, where's that one? Volume 3. So Deke's going with the OG albums here for Jock Jams. The thing I don't like about it, I understand where your pick is coming from, but not only do you not necessarily like the song, but I don't know that it's a people's favorite either. I get that that's where it all kind of came from, that type of sort of stadium jam type song, but I don't know that it's a people favorite, and I don't even think that you really like it.
I love it.
Oh, come on.
It's a people's favorite. I mean, have you ever gone to a game, a high school basketball game, when you just knock down a 3 with 1 minute left, put your team ahead, and then they take a timeout, and the pep band plays that? Nobody sits on their hands, baby. They're all yelling.
Fair enough. All right. I get it. I mean, it was interesting. I didn't think for sure with the picks that I was going to try to steal from you. I definitely did not think you were going to go that route. But hey,
I'm going for
you too.
another victory in the draft.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, now I feel like Ben, it's all wide open for you.
Yeah, I'm going to take what was number 1 on my board, and that's, first of all, Volume 1 was the best volume. 2 was okay, 3 was good. I felt like it kind of fell off after that, but 1 was my favorite. Maybe that's just nostalgia.
Yeah, I thought 3 was fire. I thought 3 was absolute fire. But what'd you go with for your first pick?
I'm taking Whoop, There It Is, tag team, top song for me. That was number 1 on my board.
Can you sing a little bit of that, please?
Nope.
Tag team, back up.
Again.
Again.
Yep.
Did you cut out there?
You got it. We're good, Ben.
Yeah. Whoop, There It Is.
Yep. My tag team, you can find that on Volume 1. Not much to say there. Good choice, I think. I think it was a pretty obvious, maybe a top 5 for everybody. I would say it was certainly up on my board. So solid pick there. So then we'll close out round 1 with Chris's first pick. And just a reminder, Chris, you do have back picks here, but no rush. What do you got for your first pick, last pick of the first round? Whoa.
First pick is Pump Up the Jam by Tetronics. I mean, that is legendary.
Good one.
I'm going to get right into pick number 2. There's no reason.
Wait.
What?
I gotta find this one. This
what
one
volume?
was not.
This is on
this
volume
was not
1. This is on the list
Pump
you
Up the
sent.
Jam. Yeah.
Pump Up the Jam. Yeah, it did not make my big
Boom,
board.
Pump the Jam. Wow, that is incredible.
That was my pick if it made it back around.
All right, so I'm going to go with one that...
Hold on, just to recap here. The first round went 3 songs out of Volume 1, and then my lone pick out of Volume 3. So far, Volume 1 heavy. And I think a couple shockers there with Rock and Roll Part 2 and Pump Up the Jam. Oldies, certainly goodies, but surprising first round picks. So, Chris, with your first pick of the second round, what do you got?
I'm a little more excited about this pick. The first one was just like something I'm listening to. I'm definitely getting jacked up. But if you've seen this video, you will be with me 1,000%. Mo Money, Mo Problems. Okay. Notorious. Unbelievable. They make fun of Diddy wearing the baggiest pants, telling them they're the super tight pants in the golf video. Nowadays, they wouldn't even be sold in stores. They'd be too baggy, and they thought they were so tight. Definitely a legendary song.
Yep. Top three on my big board. You're talking Notorious B.I.G., Mace, Diddy. Nice little collabo. I think one from our old days in middle school and early high school. That was a good one. Was that volume 3 as well?
It's 4 actually. Number 4.
Okay.
And it would have been with "Let Me Clear My Throat." That would have been number 4 and number 5 for me. But "Pump Up the Jam," I know it's unbelievably not on your list. Crazy.
I'm already pretty confident I'm going to win this one with already.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody doesn't vote for Notorious B.I.G., I mean, then it's a rigged competition.
Deke, I don't know if Rock and Roll Part 2 is equal to Blue Moon, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what the people vote on Twitter. Ben, second round, your second pick, first pick in the second round.
Yes. So this is an easy one for me because I know Deke is probably going to take this if I don't do it now. So this is going to be a man who's 6'8", and people thought the music that he made was pretty good.
This can't be happening.
Karaoke classic, Montel Jordan. This is how we do it.
Oh, he steals it.
Leave it up to Ben to do that.
Well, to be honest, this was the one that I thought maybe I should pick with the first pick just to steal it out from underneath you, because I thought it would be number 1 on your board and you wouldn't go Rock and Roll Part 2. So this is only your fault, because I think with all certainty, had you taken This Is How We Do It with your first pick, Deke, that Rock and Roll Part 2 would still be available to you right now.
Precisely. And if Deke would have picked after me at the 4 spot where Chris is, I would have taken This Is How We Do It at 3. But I didn't know if Chris would take it. I took the risk, paid off.
Wow.
Should we make trades?
No, but you can go online and vote for mine.
So, Deke, now that you're scrambling, what are you going with your second pick?
Well, Ben, you can only keep that if you can sing it right now.
This is how we do it.
Okay.
Pretty good. I'll take it. It's
all right.
his.
Well, since one of my classic karaoke songs has been stolen, I will go with another classic karaoke song of mine. As some of you watching this may know, make a comment below or like this pod if you want. But Nice and Slow remix by Usher.
I knew that was coming from you. I was not familiar with the remix. I think mainly because I'm so used to the original from you and karaoke, but it was on my board. It wasn't high on my board, but it was on my board.
It has a little dance kind of beat in the background. So, like, normally it goes slow, but then it goes at 7 o'clock on the dot. Give me a drop top, cruising the streets. Oh, yeah. I got a real pretty little thing that's waiting for me. All right, I'm done. I'm pull up. All right, I'm done. Jason, you're up.
Yeah. Just to put an end to that, and I'm sorry for everybody listening out there, but we used to karaoke a lot. At least me, Deke, and Ben, we would get out there quite a bit. We'd pull Chris out there with us every now and again if we could get him out there. But I certainly remember the original. I knew it was coming from you. If you didn't get This Is How We Do It, I knew you'd get that one. To be honest, I thought you'd be sitting here with This Is How We Do It and Nice and Slow remix as your top 2 picks. But it got away from you. So
yeah, well, I went with the traditional pick. Hey song. Sorry.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that pays off. I'm actually super pumped because this makes it really easy. I'm going to end up with 3 of my top 6 picks here at pick number pick number 8 and 9. So in the top 9 picks, I'm getting what were 3 of my top 6. So I'm pretty pumped. I'll just put them in there in order. So at number 8, I will go with The Dip. The Dip
Oh,
by Nasty.
Oh man,
I like that song.
me too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another classic. I remember that from like middle school dances and stuff like that. So, I went to, well, let's see, Chris, Ben, and myself, at least through middle school, all went to Catholic school. So when we had dances and you got songs like The Dip to come on, I mean, that was pushing boundaries back in those days. So, The Dip hits a lot of checks a lot of the boxes for me on these songs. So really happy to have that one on my team.
Well, I went to public school and my history teacher played that as a video, so maybe there's a difference there.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of a difference. We were lucky if we even got to hear it. The Dip is coming again. That's a volume 3 track for me. But with my number 9 pick, the first pick of the 3rd round, I am going to revert back to volume 1, and I'm going to take Tootsie Roll off the board.
Oh,
Yeah, Tootsie Roll by 69 Boys.
oh,
Volume 1.
that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah, just look at the squad I have in front of you and tell me how it's going to get beaten. It doesn't even matter. I might not even pick a 4th pick.
Well, you would have to spell Tootsie Roll right first.
That's how it was spelled on the album list that I was looking at.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's my fault.
It could be wrong. I think it was Wikipedia where it was the easiest spot to get all these playlists. So maybe the person who put it on there put it on wrong. But regardless, I'm super pumped about my pick so far. We're gonna roll it back for round 3 here with Justin. Your 3rd pick. What do you got?
I gotta think about this for a second.
I think while he's thinking about, I think the interesting part about this draft as compared to last draft is we all had these playlists from these 5 volumes, and so the strategy really started to come into play because we can all see the options for everybody else. So that's where you can see how Ben had it played out in his mind, how he was going to steal the pick from Justin. I was thinking the same thing with the number 1 pick. And you can kind of put a strategy together on how you're going to get the songs you want to either last until your next pick, or you got to kind of maybe climb the ladder and pick them ahead of where they might have normally been taken. So Justin, with that, have you figured out what your plan is?
Finalized my pick. We'll go for MJ here. Space Jam, Quad City DJs.
Yep, that was next on my list of songs available. Mel Kiper's best available. I think.
Oh,
You'll see tomorrow. Space Jam gone off the board.
Jock Jams,
All right,
Volume
Ben.
4.
That was volume 4. Okay, so Ben, you were in the first round. You were a volume 1 backer. Are you sticking with volume 1 for your 3rd pick, or are you going elsewhere?
Oh, this is a tough one. I'm torn between a couple of different songs, and I know I only have 2 picks left. We should think about making these 5 rounds.
We could potentially do that, but for this one, that's all you got left.
Dang it! All right. Well, I'm gonna go back to what I said was the best one, the original Jock Jams Volume 1. This is gonna be Hip Hop Hooray by Naughty by Nature.
Wow.
Hip Hop Hooray! Ho!
is that NBA 2K5? I forget which one it was, but man, I remember that.
Yeah. Could have been. I don't remember what game it was from, but
Pretty sure if your parents caught you in the
Hip-Hop
basement
Hooray.
listening to that, you'd be in trouble.
Hip Hop Hooray is right. That's it's been out much earlier than 2005, if that's when you're hearing it on a video game. Obviously, Volume 1 Jock Jams, I think, was maybe 1994, 95, something like that.
I think it was around there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty early on. So I think a classic pick. I don't think there's a wrong answer now towards the bottom here, because I think there's the obvious favorites we all liked, and now we're all scrambling. There is one that I actually overlooked, and I don't think it's going to make it back to my last pick. But I think there's still one pretty big song out there that I'm surprised nobody's taken yet. So we'll see we'll see what happens. Chris, what do you got with your third pick?
All right, third pick. We're going volume 2. I like to move it.
Wow. Okay,
Wow.
going with the Madagascar favorite. Deke understands that because we are both fathers of young children, so I'm sure.
Well, I've seen Madagascar too.
Well,
Okay, Ben, that also explains a lot.
Yes. But I thought the same thing when I saw that. I like to move it. All I could think of was the what is it, a meerkat or something, or
Yeah, what's his name? King Julian.
yeah, doing. I like to move it.
Great character. One of my favorite
Yeah.
characters in animated movies ever. I really like him. I like the guy who the voice he went with for him. But Chris, I think it's a good pick.
Yeah.
Well, you
At
guys are
this
both
point,
laughing, so it makes
I'm
you
just
feel
biting
good.
my
It's a great
nails.
pick.
I'm just biting my nails, hoping that this one pick makes it back to me. So if you do hear me react to your picks, it's more so if you're not picking the one I'm thinking. So don't think that I'm necessarily downplaying your pick. So I like that one. What'd you go with for your last pick in
All right.
the first round of first pick of the fourth round? Sorry.
Yep, last pick. It came down to a couple different ones. I don't think any of you guys will have it. It was either between Push It by Salt and Pepper,
It was on my list.
or I'm going with Coolio. 1,
Yahoo.
2, 3,
Oh,
4.
Woohoo.
snipe
Well, it
it.
sounds like you might have sniped one from Ben. That's a good pick. 1, 2, 3, 4. I remember last night. It was right there. It was borderline. I knew my list was getting too long. Didn't make my list. It was in consideration. Push It was certainly on there. That's a classic. Nothing wrong with the 1, 2, 3, 4 pick. Awesome song. It was fun to listen to that one last night because obviously I haven't heard it, and gosh, I don't even know how long. Which volume? That was volume 2, I believe.
That was 2.
Something
Which is
new.
interesting. I don't know that we've had a pick from volume 2, did we? Or no, I Like to Move It was also from volume 2.
And
Chris
Montel
going
Jordan.
back-
And this is how we do
Oh,
it.
was it? Okay. Then never mind.
Yeah.
Have we had a pick from volume 5?
Usher.
Nice and slow.
Oh,
You
yeah.
want me to keep singing, Jason, or?
No, I think we can pass. Maybe you can
Okay.
end the show singing
All right.
maybe the ending of that song.
Okay.
So Ben, last pick. It sounded like Chris maybe sniped 1, 2, 3, 4 from you. So where are you? Where's the pivot? Where are you going?
So I think I'm gonna go. This for me is a kind of a throwback pick. This is one I've done with Deke a little bit with the hand dancing.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm gonna go with the from volume 1 again,
Oh,
Twilight Zone by 2 Unlimited.
Ooh.
that one didn't make my list. Can you remind me? Because honestly, I do not know what that one sounds like.
The only thing I remember from it is it's got like that Mortal Kombat techno feel to it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It was one of my favorite techno tunes. It was between that and Macho Man for me. I should have gone with Macho Man because I am a Macho Man. But I needed to have one sort of techno dancey song on there.
Twilight Zone. Okay, so I mean, I don't know what to really say on that one. I guess great last pick. It comes down to this. I have a 50-50 shot of getting what was actually number 2 on my board, and somehow I let it go this long. As long as Justin doesn't take it from underneath me. Deke, what are you going with your last pick?
Right here, baby. Jump around on Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh.
House of Pain, Volume 4.
Did not make my list. I am not, even though I'm from Wisconsin, I am not a jump around fan. I think it's cool what the Badgers do with it at Badger football games. The song itself doesn't really do much for me. Very nostalgic. I guess you can't go wrong in that sense. But I am personally not a fan of jump around.
Yeah, well, I did it for the Badgers.
Yeah, you're
House
home.
of Pain, Homer. I'm always a Homer. Everybody will know this as each episode goes on. I am one of the biggest Homers in the world. So
Might as well
just
call
get
you
used to
Simpson.
it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Okay. Hey, not a bad pick. I'm just putting my personal taste out there, and that is not a jumper. I will jump around if I'm at Camp Randall and we're between quarters 3 and 4 at a football game, but I'm not putting that song on and turning it up and listening to that one. I'd much rather listen to any other song on this board than jump around.
I could pick one out that you might not want.
What's that?
Well, let me just go down the list here.
I'd rather listen to the Hey song than jump
How
around.
about Get Down Tonight, Casey and the Sunshine Band?
That's not on the list.
I'm in our board. All right. So my number 2 pick made it, and I'm super pumped to round out my team with what was my number 2 overall song, and that is No
Before you say it.
Diggity.
Oh,
I
failure.
cannot believe No Diggity lasted that long with no takers, and that is by Blackstreet featuring Dr. Dre. Let me see which one that was on.
That's number 3.
Volume 3.
Volume 3, yeah, Fire. Volume 3 had the Fire on it.
See,
Is that
I
the
listened
third
to that
song?
last night, and it didn't. I mean, I remember listening to that when I was trying to like hang out with girls or something and date them, and be like, hey, I got the, No Diggity on the single, and I'd pop it in my cassette player. But I listened to it again, and I'm like, this did nothing for me in the locker room before the game at all.
Oh yeah, certainly not a before game type song, but I think in the same sense, like The Dip was not a pre-game song. That's not why I picked it. It was more one of those classic old school. You heard it at the dance, that sort of thing. I was
ask
not
you
drafting
something
in
here?
the sense of pre-game.
Why
songs.
did
What do got?
why did you take it at number 16 instead of number 8? Because it was number 2 on your board.
Right. I was crossing off. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can show this because I think my back. Oh, maybe you guys can.
Nope.
Oh, no. You
No.
see it. Yeah. The page makes me invisible. But I was crossing off the names as we went along, and when I think Ben went Mo Money Mo Problems, and I just saw it as my top 2 picks were gone. And so I went with the one right after that, which was The Dip at number 4 for me. And then when I looked back at it, I realized I never crossed off No Diggity, had to check the board again to make sure it hadn't been picked, was surprised it had lasted. So, it was simply an oversight that ended up working out for me.
I got another question for you, Jason.
Yes.
Well, Chris, go ahead. You can go ahead, Chris.
My point, I just want to say, I was surprised that Miami for Will Smith didn't go, right? That was a pretty hot song for a while. But I think if I didn't take those cheesy, I like to move it and pump up the jam type of things, that might have changed my list a little bit, because those were just like everyday camp songs or everyday like just nonsense songs, where Miami, the place to be, that was you put that in the radio, like Deke said. You're not putting on No Diggity, maybe. Well, maybe you were, but maybe not so much.
What other songs did you guys not take? A high one on my list, which is kind of that camp song, not necessarily a warm-up song, but maybe like an in-game song. Deep Ties with me when I was back coaching college basketball. Cotton Eye Joe, the remix. That was not remix, but by the Rednecks. That was high on my list. Ultimately, because of No Diggity still being available, I was able to take. I didn't have to take Cotton Eye Joe, but that one was up there. Any other ones that didn't get put on the draft
I was
board?
surprised Come On Ride the Train by the Quad City DJs.
Yeah, Come On Ride the Train and Macarena were like also in consideration for my last few.
Macarena, no.
Yes, the Macarena. Worldwide
Can you please
phenomenon.
do the Macarena?
No, I can't.
Anything that gets played in the same light as the chicken dance should not be, on a Jock Jams draft. Now, Ben, the one I did think that you might take, if I saw anybody taking it, would have been Tub Thumpin'. I thought for sure that was a Ben Christensen Chumbawamba play for sure.
No, I'm not a big Tub Thumpin'. Not that it's not a decent song, but it wasn't. I'm not saying I don't like the song. I'm just saying it wasn't in the top 16 that I had listed for the draft.
I got you.
Hey, Jason, I had a question for you though. some of your comments, like how many you loved going to dances, didn't you? School dances, that was your thing.
No, we didn't have a lot of them, you know, and I'm not even a big public dancer, like out on the dance floor type person. I may be now as I'm getting older because there's alcohol involved, but in middle school there was not. At least at our middle school,
Right.
there was no alcohol involved. Yeah,
So-
especially not that, Ben. But
No.
I just remember it from those days, and it brings back a lot of memories.
Quick poll question for the group. Go around real quick. Middle school dances. Were you a wallflower or a dancer? Ben,
Wallflower.
Chris,
Wallflower.
Jason.
Wallflower.
I was a dancer, boys. I gotta
Yeah.
admit, I was a
Yeah,
dancer.
You know, another one I was surprised maybe Ben didn't pick or anybody is It Takes Two. I thought that would have been up there for somebody.
That was on
Yeah.
my list.
I had
That's
that.
circled.
I had It Takes Two, that Everybody Dance Now kind of fits in line with Chris and Deke with their, classic Jock Jams songs. I Like to Move It was there. That got taken. Boom, boom, boom. Ooh.
I thought YMCA would have got grabbed up too. Nobody took that one.
Getting Jiggy with It. Also, Everybody by Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
listened
I'm
to that
mad I
last
didn't
night
take that
too.
now.
But I don't know. It's in what I did last night is I listened to the songs and I'm like, man, if that got me pumped up, I got to put it
Well,
on my
that's because
list.
you were like 35 when that first came out, so it didn't hit you the same. Like we were all like 13, 12. It was
Great
right up
point.
our alley.
It's a great point. I have to agree with that.
That's funny.
So-
I thought this draft was awesome. Hopefully, we can continue to find
This was a fun one.
different draft topics. So if you guys have any suggestions, certainly throw them out there because we're going to be looking to do a new draft every week. We'd like to have options like this. I think this one much better. It was a lot clearer what you could and could not take and how that worked, unlike week one. But it's a
Yeah.
learning process. This is episode 2 for us. So we'd like any and all feedback, good, bad, or otherwise. Please let us know. You can find us on Twitter at rest_field. On Instagram, you can search us at the rest of the field, and our YouTube channel. You can just simply search on YouTube for the rest of the field, and you will find us. We're putting out little snips of the show. We're putting out full shows. We're going to try to get as much stuff on social media as we can without posting, obviously, the full show. So maybe some little snippets, some little outtakes. Again, hopefully this even works. Maybe we'll have to re-record. We're going to have to see because of my internet difficulties before. So we'll see how it all works out. Maybe we can piece together this episode. Ultimately, I think as long as we can get the draft out, it should be a hit. So please let us know. Give us a like, retweet us. Tell a friend, show a friend, find some friends. Don't touch your friends. Stay 6 feet away from them. Be sure to watch your hands. Don't congregate in groups. What else do they tell us to do?
I thought that was all legal in Atlanta, but could be wrong.
Actually, no. Actually, I just got a Facebook invite from a bar that they are having a band next Friday. So they've been a little bit more lenient on rules. Barbershops, things like that are going to start opening up. So things are changing, at least for now. We'll see how that all works out. But hopefully we're getting on the other side of this. I'm not too sure if we are yet or not. But regardless of if we are or not, we're still going to be bringing you guys as much content as we can. Next week, we will touch on how the draft went, if there were any hiccups, who got taken where, if we like the Packers draft, we were surprised flew up the draft board, and who dropped, who fell down. I guess we'll see if Tua drops out of the first round and if I have to buy drinks or not. I still think
Just
Ben
a
should
drink.
need to.
Just a drink.
Okay, fine. I still think Ben
I'll
should
take
have
it. I'll take more than
his
one.
facial hair into some Joe Exotic looking something or another. But we hope that you tune back in next week. We'll let you know on social media when we're going to be recording that. So between now and then, get on there, vote for who has the best draft, the best Jock Jams draft, who has the best NBA duo currently. And then when we get some more information up there on next week. Comment, like, post, retweet, all that stuff. Please help us get our name out. Subscribe, absolutely. Do all those little things for us so we can keep bringing you more and more content. We are the rest of the field. I am Jason, and for Chris, Justin, Ben, we're out of here, everybody. Stay safe.
Stay classy.
Stay safe. Stay blessed.